Amanda Miller's hands trembled as she clutched the crumpled paper with the address. The bus rattled through Bel Air's winding streets, past mansions that seemed to mock her worn faux leather purse and thrift store blouse. At 29, she'd learned that desperation had a particular smell, like stale coffee and unpaid bills stacked on a cramped apartment table. 3 weeks without work. 3 weeks of watching her savings evaporate like morning dew under the harsh Los Angeles sun. The coffee shop closure had been unexpected, brutal in its timing. But Luna needed to eat, needed daycare, needed a mother who didn't cry herself to sleep worrying about next month's rent. The Albright estate rose before her like something from a dream or a nightmare, depending on your perspective. Imposing wrought iron gates adorned with a golden A gleamed in the February heat. Amanda pressed the intercom button, her reflection distorted in the polished metal. Who was she kidding? She didn't belong here. Albright Estate, a crisp voice responded. Amanda Miller. I have an interview for the housekeeper position. The gate slid open silently, revealing a garden that belonged in design magazines. Persian rugs, crystal chandeliers visible through tall windows, the scent of lilies and roses perfuming air that seemed cleaner, richer than the air she breathed in Englewood. Regina, the house manager, led her through hallways where paintings worth more than Amanda would earn in a lifetime hung casually on walls. Each step on the Italian marble felt like trespassing. Then she met Vanessa Albright. Elegant, 50s, with blonde hair in a sophisticated bun and a pearl necklace that probably cost more than Amanda's car, back when she'd had a car. But surprisingly, there was warmth in her eyes as she gestured to the chair. Tell me about yourself, Amanda. The interview flowed better than expected. Amanda spoke about her work ethic, her experience, carefully dodging around the desperation that colored every word. When Vanessa asked about Luna, Amanda's face transformed. She's my entire world. She's why I work so hard, why I never give up. Something flickered in Vanessa's expression, recognition, perhaps, or memory. I admire your determination. I think we can give this a try. $3,200 a month, with benefits. Can you start tomorrow? Relief flooded through Amanda like a physical wave. Yes. Thank you so much. As Regina began the tour, explaining duties and showing rooms, Amanda felt cautiously hopeful for the first time in weeks. Maybe things were finally looking up. Maybe Luna would have the stability she deserved. This is the main hallway, Regina explained, gesturing to a gallery of portraits. The Albright family tradition. There's the late Mr. Albert, and that's young Mr. Peter, taken before his last international trip. Amanda glanced up casually, following Regina's pointing finger. Then the world stopped, time fractured into 1,000 sharp pieces, each one cutting deeper than the last. The face in the portrait stared back at her with hazel green eyes she saw every single day, in her daughter's face. The asymmetrical smile that Luna had inherited. The dark hair, the angular jaw, the expression that had haunted her dreams for 5 years. It wasn't Andrew. It had never been Andrew. It was Peter Albright, Luna's father. The room spun. Blood drained from Amanda's face, her legs weakening beneath her. The words escaped before she could stop them, strangled and desperate. Mom, why is the father of my daughter in the portrait in your mansion? The silence that followed said everything and nothing at all. Vanessa's composed mask cracked, just slightly, before she recovered. Regina, leave us please. The house manager withdrew quickly, though her expression suggested she'd heard enough to fool household gossip for weeks. Amanda couldn't tear her eyes from the portrait. Every line of that face was burned into her memory, the face she'd searched for desperately 5 years ago, the face that had disappeared without explanation, leaving her pregnant and alone. This is my son, Peter Albright, Vanessa said carefully, studying Amanda with new intensity. He's currently in Shanghai on business. I think you're mistaken. I'm not mistaken. Amanda's voice shook with 5 years of suppressed anger and pain. 5 years ago, I met a man who called himself Andrew. We were together for 3 months. When I discovered I was pregnant, he'd vanished, fake number, fake address, fake name. But it's him. I'd know that face anywhere. Vanessa's calculated composure wavered. She moved closer to the portrait, as if seeing her son for the first time. This is absurd. Peter would never. I can prove it. Amanda fumbled for her phone with trembling hands, pulling up Luna's photo. This is my daughter. Look at her eyes. Her smile. The shape of her face. Vanessa took the phone, and Amanda watched the exact moment reality shattered the older woman's certainty. Her lips parted silently, and she braced herself against the wall. This isn't possible, Vanessa whispered, but her eyes couldn't deny what they saw. Peter never mentioned, he didn't, her voice failed. 5 years ago, Amanda provided. November through February. We met at a beach bonfire in Santa Monica. He told me his name was Andrew. He said he worked in marketing. We had 3 perfect months, and then he disappeared like smoke. Vanessa closed her eyes, calculating. 5 years ago. That was when Albert died. Peter was different then, distant, overwhelmed. She opened her eyes, and they were suddenly moist. My granddaughter. All this time. Amanda hadn't expected compassion, but it poured from Vanessa now, complicated by shock and something that looked like maternal disappointment. Why would he lie about his name? Amanda asked, though she was speaking more to herself. After his father's death, Peter struggled with the pressure. The company, the expectations, being thrust into a role he wasn't ready for. Vanessa shook her head sharply. But there's no justification for this. If what you say is true, and looking at your daughter, I have no reason to doubt, then my son has much to explain. The weight of the revelation settled between them like a physical presence. Peter returns from Shanghai on Friday, Vanessa said finally, her voice regaining its firmness. Until then, I suggest we keep this between us. As for the job. She hesitated. The position is still yours, if you want it. Amanda blinked in surprise. You still want to hire me after all this? Especially after all this, Vanessa replied. If what you say is true, you're the mother of my granddaughter, a granddaughter I never knew existed. Peter will have to face the consequences of his actions. And I. She paused, emotion cracking her voice. I want to meet my granddaughter. Amanda felt swept along by currents beyond her control. She'd come seeking a simple job. Now she stood before her daughter's grandmother, in a mansion belonging to the man who'd abandoned her, facing a future she couldn't have imagined an hour ago. I need to think, Amanda managed. This is too much. I understand. But think about this, Luna deserves to know her family. Her father, irresponsible as he was, and her grandmother. There was an unspoken plea in Vanessa's eyes. Please come back tomorrow. We can discuss terms. Terms. Whatever your decision about the job, I want to establish my relationship with my granddaughter. Formally, legally if necessary. Amanda studied the woman before her, trying to understand the mix of calculation and vulnerability in those eyes. I'll come back tomorrow, she finally agreed. At 9, as we arranged. As Amanda walked out through the all-bright gates, she felt as if she'd lived a decade in those few hours. The bus back to Englewood carried her between 2 distinct realities, the opulence of the mansion and her simple, honest life. And somewhere between those worlds, a man named Peter Albright was flying back to the United States, completely unaware of the storm awaiting him. Amanda did return the next morning, her mind spinning with questions that had kept her awake all night. Luna had asked why Mommy seemed sad, and Amanda had forced a smile, kissed her daughter's forehead, and promised everything was fine. But nothing was fine. Everything had changed. Vanessa greeted her with tea in fine porcelain cups, the morning sun streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows of the mansion's breakfast room. They talked carefully at first, dancing around the enormous revelation between them. I want to meet her, Vanessa said finally, setting down her cup with careful precision. Before Peter returns. I need to understand who my granddaughter is before I confront my son. Amanda had anticipated this. Her name is Luna. Luna Miller. She's curious, stubborn, brilliant. She loves whales. A smile softened her face despite everything. She asks a million questions about everything. She has her father's eyes, Vanessa observed softly. Yes. Sometimes when she looks at me, it's like seeing him again. They arranged it for Wednesday afternoon. Amanda would bring Luna to the mansion. With a simplified truth, Vanessa was a friend's mother who wanted to meet her. When Wednesday came, Luna's eyes went wide as the Mercedes picked them up. Mommy, this car is so big. Remember your manners, sweetheart, Amanda whispered, smoothing her daughter's hair. The mansion's garden captivated Luna immediately. She ran among the flowers, exclaiming over every discovery while Vanessa watched from the patio, her expression transforming with each of Luna's delighted laughs. She has his determination, Vanessa commented as Luna focused intently on identifying different flowers. That quiet intensity when she's concentrating. The afternoon unfolded with surprising ease. Luna, with her 4-year-old lack of guile, charmed Vanessa completely. They had tea, chocolate milk for Luna, and cookies, and Vanessa showed Luna the koi pond where golden fish swam lazily. They're like water princesses, Luna breathed, enchanted. Vanessa knelt beside her granddaughter, pointing out the largest fish. That one is named Empress. She's been here since before you were born. That's a long time. Luna's eyes widened. Is she older than Mommy? Vanessa laughed, a sound that seemed to surprise her. Not quite, sweetheart. As the afternoon progressed, Amanda watched something transform in Vanessa. The calculated elegance softened into genuine warmth. This wasn't about obligation or family legacy, this was a grandmother falling in love with her granddaughter. Before they left, Vanessa pulled Amanda aside. Thank you for this. I know it wasn't easy. She deserves to know her family, Amanda replied. Even if the situation is complicated. I've opened a savings account in her name, Vanessa said quietly. And arranged for her to be added to the family's health insurance. It's not charity, it's the minimum of what she's owed. Amanda started to refuse, then stopped. For Luna, perhaps pride was a luxury she couldn't afford. Thank you. Over the next days, an unlikely routine formed. Amanda officially began working at the mansion, though the arrangement felt surreal, cleaning the home of the man who'd abandoned her, working for the grandmother of her child. Vanessa made discreet arrangements, documents, and provisions for a granddaughter she'd never known existed. And both women waited for Friday, when Peter Albright would return and face the consequences of a lie told 5 years ago. Friday arrived with suffocating tension. Amanda cleaned the mansion's library with trembling hands, reorganizing books that didn't need reorganizing, anything to keep busy while waiting for the inevitable. 5 years. 5 years since she'd seen the man she'd known as Andrew. How would her body react? With anger, with the old attraction, with indifference? The uncertainty terrified her more than anything. At 3:30 p.m., gravel crunched in the driveway. Amanda froze, duster clutched in her hand like a weapon. The trip was productive, but I'm exhausted, said a voice from the entry hall. Deep, familiar despite the years, now with a more mature timbre. I just want a hot shower and, Peter. Vanessa's voice cut through. Before that, you need to meet someone. Now. Mom, I'm dead tired. It's important. In the library, please. Amanda straightened her uniform, trying to appear composed while her heart hammered against her ribs. The door opened. Vanessa entered first, casting her an encouraging look. Then he walked in. Peter Albright was even more striking than she remembered. At 35, he'd acquired a presence the 30-year-old she'd known had only hinted at. Taller than she recalled, or perhaps it was the impeccably tailored suit. His face had become more angular, his features more defined, the features she saw daily in Luna. His eyes widened in shock when he saw her. The briefcase slipped from his fingers, paper scattering across the polished floor. Amanda. The word came out strangled, disbelieving. Hello, Andrew, she replied, emphasizing the false name with a calm she didn't feel. Or should I say, Peter Albright. He turned pale, looking from his mother to Amanda, clearly struggling to process the situation. What, how, why are you here? I work here now, Amanda said, crossing her arms defensively. I'm your mother's new housekeeper. This can't be real. Peter stepped back as if wanting to flee. This must be some kind of setup. It's no setup, Peter. Vanessa's voice was colder than Amanda had ever heard it. Amanda came by chance, responding to our job advertisement. Imagine her surprise when she saw your portrait on the wall. The man she knew as Andrew, who disappeared without explanation 5 years ago. Peter ran a hand through his hair, that nervous gesture Amanda remembered so well. Mom, I can explain. Explain what exactly? Vanessa raised her eyebrows. How you lied about your identity to an innocent woman. How you abandoned her without consideration. Or perhaps you'd like to explain how you never mentioned that you have a daughter. The word daughter struck Peter like a physical blow. He staggered, seeking support on the nearest bookshelf. Daughter. Luna, Amanda said, pulling out her phone with trembling fingers. Your 4-year-old daughter. She showed him the latest photo, Luna beaming, holding up a drawing of a princess. The same hazel green eyes as Peter's. The same asymmetrical smile. Peter took the phone as if it were a bomb. He stared at the photo for long moments, his face a mixture of shock, denial, fear, and finally, painful recognition. My God, he murmured, collapsing into the nearest armchair. I didn't know. I never imagined. How could you have known? Amanda's voice trembled with 5 years of suppressed anger finally finding release. You disappeared, Andrew, or Peter, or whoever you are. Changed your number, gave me a fake address. I tried to find you when I discovered the pregnancy. I tried for weeks. It was a complicated time, Peter struggled for words. My father had just died. The company was in crisis. I wasn't in a place to be honest. To take responsibility. Amanda completed, tears threatening. You lied about everything, even your name. The silence that followed was heavy, oppressive. Vanessa watched her son with deep disappointment while Peter seemed to have aged 10 years in minutes. Peter finally looked up from Luna's photo, meeting Amanda's eyes for the first time. When I met you, Amanda, I was lost. My father had died unexpectedly. I was under pressure from all sides to take over the company, to be the perfect son, the perfect heir. Meeting you as Andrew was the only real thing I had in those months. The only time I could be just a normal man. And that justifies lying. Amanda couldn't believe his audacity. Disappearing when things got serious. No, Peter admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. It doesn't justify anything. It was cowardly and irresponsible. I panicked. I realized I was falling in love with you, and I didn't know how to reconcile that with the life I was being forced to take on. So I ran. I thought it would be better for both of us. Better for us. Amanda laughed without humor. I spent the last 5 years fighting to raise your daughter alone, working 2, sometimes 3 jobs, while you lived. She gestured around at the surrounding luxury. Peter's head dropped, shame evident in every line of his body. I will never be able to make that up. I will never be able to get those years back. But now that I know. He looked again at Luna's photo, something softening in his gaze. I want to meet her. I want to be part of her life. If you let me. And why should I? Amanda crossed her arms. Why should I trust you now? Because despite everything, Vanessa interjected, Luna deserves to know her father. And Peter deserves the chance to correct his mistakes, however grave they are. Peter stood, approaching Amanda carefully, like someone approaching a wounded animal. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just asking for the chance to meet my daughter, to be part of her life from now on. Amanda studied the face before her, the same face she'd loved, the same face that had hurt her, now seemingly sincerely remorseful. She thought of Luna, who asked about her father with innocent curiosity. This isn't going to be easy, she said finally. You can't just show up in her life as if nothing happened. We need to do this gradually, carefully. And if at any point I feel you're harming Luna, it's over. Understood. Understood, Peter nodded, gratitude evident. I'll do it your way, on your timeline. Perhaps we should all sit and discuss how to proceed, Vanessa suggested. There are practical issues to consider. Peter, I presume you intend to formally acknowledge paternity. Peter looked at his mother, then at Amanda, and nodded firmly. Yes. I want Luna to have my name, her rights, everything that's hers by right. I'm not interested in your money, Amanda clarified quickly. I never have been. I know, Peter replied softly. It's one of the things I always admired about you. The comment caught Amanda off guard, stirring unwanted memories of simpler times when she'd believed in an honest romance with a man named Andrew. They spent the next hour discussing logistics, how to introduce Peter into Luna's life, what timeline made sense, how to eventually reveal the truth. Vanessa suggested adjusting Amanda's employment, offering a position in the company offices rather than housekeeping. I still need to work, Amanda insisted. I don't want charity. And we won't offer it, Vanessa assured. But perhaps something better suited to your skills. One step at a time, Amanda countered, overwhelmed. This is all happening too fast. May I? Peter hesitated. May I come with you to pick up Luna from daycare? Not to meet her yet, just to see her from a distance. To start to understand. Amanda considered carefully. Part of her wanted to refuse, to keep Luna away until she was certain of his intentions. But another part understood he was the father, and Luna deserved to know her family. All right, she finally agreed. But only from a distance. No introductions today. The Mercedes felt confining despite its spacious interior. Amanda kept her eyes fixed on the window, watching the landscape shift from Bel Air's mansions to central Los Angeles' busier streets. Beside her, Peter drummed his fingers nervously on his knee. She looks like you, he said finally, breaking the silence. In her smile. Amanda turned slightly. And her eyes. She has your eyes. What is she like? Her personality. How could she sum up Luna in a few words? She's smart. Very observant. Sometimes she seems 40 instead of 4 with the questions she asks. An involuntary smile softened her face. But she's also incredibly stubborn. When she decides something, there's no force in the world that can make her change her mind. Just like her father, Vanessa had observed that morning. Has she asked about me? Peter's voice was almost a whisper. Amanda looked at her hands. She started asking about a year ago, when she noticed other kids had fathers. I told her the truth, or part of it, that her father had to leave before he knew she existed. I never spoke badly about you. I never wanted her to grow up with resentment. Peter closed his eyes briefly. Thank you for that. I didn't deserve such consideration. When the car stopped before the public daycare in Englewood, the contrast was stark. The luxury vehicle clashed completely with the simple setting, colorful walls, a small yard where children played. Wait here, Amanda instructed. You can watch from inside the car, but no introductions today. Peter nodded, his expression tense. When Amanda entered the yard, several children ran toward her, Luna in the lead. The girl launched herself into her mother's arms with explosive energy. Mommy, look what I drew today. Luna waved the colored sheet enthusiastically. It's a whale. Miss Denise said whales are the biggest. The biggest mammals, Amanda completed, lifting her daughter and adjusting her backpack. It's beautiful, my love. From inside the car, Peter watched with a mix of fascination and pain. His eyes couldn't stray from the small figure in a blue dress whose animated face was a miniature version of his own, blended with Amanda's delicate features. That was his daughter. A whole person who existed without him knowing. A lifetime of first steps, first words, first smiles, all lost forever. When Amanda approached the car with Luna, Peter instinctively backed into the far corner, trying to be less visible. The door opened and he held his breath. Who is that, Mommy? The child's voice was clear, curious. This is a friend of Mommy's, sweetheart. He's giving us a ride today. Luna's eyes, his eyes, studied him with brutal childhood frankness. Hi, I'm Luna. I'm 4 and I draw whales. Peter tried to smile, but his face felt frozen. Hello, Luna. I'm Peter. It's a pleasure to meet you. During the ride to Amanda's apartment, Luna chatted non-stop about her day, the whales she'd learned about, which princess was best. Peter watched, equally enchanted and devastated, realizing the whole universe that had existed without him. At the simple building where Amanda lived, Peter asked hesitantly, "May I walk you to the door?" Amanda glanced at Luna, who seemed curious but not apprehensive. "All right. Just to the door." They climbed to the 3rd floor, no elevator. Peter discreetly observed the worn paint, narrow hallways, the smell of home cooking. A world completely different from his mansion. "We live here," Luna announced proudly at door 302. "It's small, but Mommy says it's our castle." Peter felt his chest tighten. A castle with 2 tiny bedrooms when his daughter could have grown up in a mansion with every privilege. "I think it's best we say goodbye here," Amanda said softly. Peter crouched to Luna's height. "It was a pleasure to meet you, Luna. I hope to see you again soon." The girl studied him with disconcerting intensity. "You have eyes like mine," she observed suddenly. Tense silence fell. Peter glanced at Amanda, who seemed equally surprised. "Yes, that's true," he replied, voice trembling. "How observant you are. Mommy says I have princess eyes. Special green eyes. Your mother is right. They're very special, just like you." After the door closed, Peter remained in the hallway, feeling simultaneously the luckiest and most miserable man in the world. The next day, Peter called an emergency meeting with his legal team. In his top-floor office overlooking Los Angeles, he met with Dr. Matthews, the family attorney. "I want to formally acknowledge the paternity of my daughter," Peter announced without preamble. "Luna Miller, 4 years old. I want to establish a trust and guarantee all her legal rights as my heir." Dr. Matthews merely raised his eyebrows discreetly. "And the child's mother? We have a complicated history. She isn't seeking financial acknowledgement, but I want to ensure my daughter has everything to which she's entitled. A DNA test will be necessary, naturally." Peter nodded impatiently. "Make all the arrangements." "Peter," Vanessa's voice interrupted from the doorway. She'd entered silently. "May I speak to you?" When the attorney withdrew, Vanessa approached her son's desk. "Don't you think you're moving too fast? Amanda made it very clear she doesn't want your charity." "It isn't charity, Mom. It's responsibility. Precisely because of that, you must proceed with caution. If you show up with luxury apartments and bank accounts, you'll only push her away. Amanda has pride. What do you suggest? Start with trust. Show you're genuinely interested in your daughter, not just throwing money to ease your conscience." Vanessa leaned forward. "Have you thought about how you'll explain to Luna who you really are? Or when?" The question hit Peter hard. In his rush to correct practical aspects, he hadn't considered the emotional complexity. "I need to talk to Amanda about that," he admitted. That afternoon, Peter did something he hadn't done in years, left the office early. He spent an hour in the best toy store in the city, perplexed among shelves of dolls and stuffed animals. He left with a blue plush whale the size of a small child, an illustrated book about marine life, and the feeling of being completely unprepared. Standing before Amanda's building, awkwardly balancing the gifts, Peter wondered if he was making another mistake. Taking courage, he pressed the intercom. "It's Peter," he said when Amanda answered. "I brought something for Luna. If it's all right." A pause, then, "Come up." Luna's face lit up like a beacon when Peter entered carrying the huge blue plush whale. "A whale," she exclaimed, running toward the toy. "A real whale." Peter couldn't contain his smile as Luna hugged the gift enthusiastically. Behind her, Amanda watched with a complex expression, surprise, caution, reluctant gratitude. "I hope I'm not intruding. She mentioned whales yesterday, and I thought, it's all right," Amanda interrupted, nervously adjusting her blouse. "Look, Mommy, she has button eyes." Luna lifted the whale. Then she turned to Peter. How did you know I like whales? You told me yesterday, remember? In the car. You paid attention. Luna seemed genuinely impressed. I brought this too. Peter held out the illustrated book. I thought maybe we could read it together, if your mom allows. Amanda hesitated only a second before nodding. Of course. The way Luna settled comfortably beside Peter on the couch without hesitation made his heart clench. There was an innate trust in her he desperately hoped would never fade. Do you know how to read the big words? Luna asked, opening the book. I think I can handle it, Peter replied, voice unsteady despite his effort. From the small kitchen, Amanda watched father and daughter read together. There was something undeniably sweet in how Peter devoted himself to answering Luna's endless questions. But there was also resentment. He had no right to show up after 5 years and fit into their lives so easily. And more unsettling, there was the memory of the man she'd fallen in love with, now overlaid with the executive in an expensive suit sitting on her worn-out couch. Over the next weeks, a careful routine formed. Peter visited 3 times a week, always bringing books about marine life. Luna's interest had expanded to all ocean creatures. He kept religiously to the schedules agreed with Amanda, never crossing boundaries, though his eyes often revealed the desire to do more. To Luna, Uncle Peter quickly became a constant figure. She waited eagerly for his visits, face pressed to the window long before the scheduled time, bouncing with excitement when she spotted the elegant car. Amanda watched the evolution with conflicting feelings. It was undeniable how good it was for Luna to have a male figure present. On the other hand, each smile exchanged between father and daughter reminded her of lost years and the lie still hanging between them. He looks like someone I know, Luna remarked one evening as Amanda tucked her in. His eyes are just like mine. Amanda's heart skipped a beat. Are they? Yes. And he smiles like the picture I drew of Daddy. Amanda froze. Months earlier, when Luna had begun asking about her father, Amanda suggested she draw what she imagined he'd look like. The drawing above Luna's bed showed a simplified figure with a crooked smile, eerily similar to Peter's. Sweetheart, Amanda sat on the bed's edge, searching for words. Remember when we talked about your dad? How he had to go away before he knew you existed? Luna nodded solemnly. Was it too soon? She and Peter had agreed to wait at least a month. But Luna was already connecting the dots. What if Uncle Peter knew your dad? Luna's eyes widened. He knows my daddy. They are very close. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, all right? Uncle Peter is coming, and I think we can all talk together. That night, Amanda sent Peter a message. We need to talk. Luna is asking questions. I think it's time. The reply came immediately. I'll be there early tomorrow. We'll do this together. The next morning, Peter arrived with a serious expression, carrying a small wrapped box. While Luna still slept, they discussed how to tell her. She's already connecting the dots, Amanda explained. The physical similarities are too obvious. Peter nodded, swallowing hard. I'm ready for whatever happens. Small footsteps announced Luna's arrival, still in pajamas, rubbing sleepy eyes. Her face lit up seeing Peter. Uncle Peter, you came early today. Good morning, little whale. He'd started calling her that. I hope you don't mind a morning visit. Not at all. Can we read about sharks today? Actually, sweetheart, Amanda began, we have something important to talk to you about. How about breakfast first? During the simple meal, Peter could barely take his eyes off Luna. Every gesture seemed magnified by the awareness of what he was about to reveal. How would she react? Finally, with plates empty, the moment came. Luna, Amanda began softly, remember when we talked about your dad? The girl nodded, suddenly attentive. And yesterday you said Uncle Peter looks like you. Another nod, Luna's eyes moving curiously between her mother and Peter. Amanda took a deep breath. That's because Uncle Peter isn't just Mommy's friend. He is. She looked to Peter, giving him space to finish. Luna. Peter leaned forward, voice trembling. I'm your dad. The silence seemed infinite. Luna's big green eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed in confusion. But Mommy said my daddy went away, she said in a small voice. And I did, Peter admitted, shame evident. Before I knew you existed. It was a very big mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. You didn't know about me. No, sweetheart. If I had known, I would have come back immediately. I would have been here from day one. Luna processed the information with 4-year-old logic. So you're my daddy for real, not just in the picture. Yes, sweetheart, Amanda confirmed gently. He's your real dad. That's why you have the same eyes and the same crooked smile. Exactly, Peter said, marveling at his daughter's perceptiveness. You have my eyes, my smile. You're part of me, Luna. The best part. Luna absorbed the information, then asked with brutal childhood innocence, and now you're going to live with us. The adults exchanged surprised looks. No, sweetheart, Amanda explained. Your dad has his own house, but he's going to keep visiting, maybe even more now. And you can visit my house too, Peter added quickly. And meet your grandma Vanessa better. She's excited to spend more time with you. The elegant lady. Luna remembered the brief meeting. Yes. My mother, your grandmother. A long moment of silence as Luna processed everything. Then, to both adults' surprise, she slid off her chair, walked up to Peter, and looked at him with almost comical seriousness. Can I call you Daddy now? Peter couldn't hold back the tears he'd tried to suppress. I'd love that, he answered, voice breaking. Without warning, Luna threw her arms around his neck, hugging with all her strength. I have a real daddy now, she murmured. Peter wrapped her in his arms, looking over Luna's head at Amanda, who watched with silent tears streaming down her face. There was forgiveness in those eyes, not entirely perhaps, but acceptance. For now, that was enough. The revelation changed everything and nothing at all. Luna, with typical childhood adaptability, accepted the truth with surprising ease. For her, it made perfect sense that the man who read books about whales and had her same eyes was her father. The adult complexities, abandonment, lies, lost years, weren't part of her understanding of the world. I have something for you, Peter said once Luna finally released him. A gift to mark this special day. Luna opened the package excitedly, revealing a delicate silver necklace with a small whale-shaped pendant. It's beautiful, she exclaimed, admiring how the little whale sparkled. Turn it over, Peter instructed softly. On the back were engraved the words, for Luna, with eternal love, Daddy. I ordered it the day I met you, he explained, fastening it around her neck. I hoped I could give it to you someday. Amanda watched, emotion swelling. It was a scene she'd never imagined witnessing. The morning unfolded in a bubble of new normalcy. Luna, with her adaptability, accepted the revelation easily. The adult complexities weren't part of her world. When Peter finally had to leave, there was a new quality to his goodbye. I'll be back day after tomorrow, as we agreed, he promised, crouching for a hug. Pinky promise. Luna held out her little finger, their ritual now. Pinky promise. Peter linked his finger with hers, then kissed her forehead. I love you, little whale. I love you too, Daddy, Luna replied with the simplicity of someone discovering an obvious truth. After the door closed, Amanda sank onto the couch, suddenly exhausted. Luna danced around the room with her plush whale, telling it all about her real daddy. Amanda's phone buzzed with Peter's message, thank you for today, for everything. I know we have a long road ahead, but I promise I'll do everything right from now on. For both of you. She contemplated the message before replying, one day at a time. In the weeks that followed, a new routine solidified. Peter visited regularly, never missing a scheduled time. He was building trust, brick by careful brick. Vanessa became a regular presence too, her relationship with Luna deepening. The little girl had gained not just a father, but an entire family she'd never known existed. One evening, as Amanda tucked Luna into bed, her daughter asked sleepily, Mommy. Now that I have a daddy, are you happy? Amanda kissed her daughter's forehead, considering carefully. I'm happy that you're happy, my love. And yes, I'm happy that your father can finally know you and love you the way you deserve. He seems to like you a lot too, Luna observed with disconcerting frankness. He looks at you like the prince looks at the princess in the books. Amanda smiled, stroking her daughter's hair. Time to sleep, little one. After Luna fell asleep, Amanda allowed herself to face a truth she'd been avoiding. Despite everything, the anger, the hurt accumulated over 5 years, part of her still responded to Peter Albright. Not the powerful executive, but the man behind the facade. The man who patiently read books about whales. The man who looked at their daughter as if she were the most extraordinary wonder in the universe. It was a disturbing thought, one she needed to examine carefully in the days to come. But for tonight, it was enough that Luna slept peacefully, a silver whale pendant around her neck, finally knowing her father's love. 6 months later, Amanda stood in the Albright Mansion's garden, watching Luna chase butterflies with the same enthusiasm she once reserved for learning about whales. The silver pendant caught the sunlight, a constant reminder of the journey they'd all taken. Peter approached, 2 glasses of lemonade in hand. "She's getting fast," he commented, a proud smile on his face. "I can barely keep up anymore." "She gets that from you," Amanda replied, accepting the glass. That determined energy. Things had changed between them, slowly, carefully. The anger had softened into understanding, the hurt into forgiveness. They weren't what they'd been 5 years ago, but they were building something new. Something better, perhaps, founded on honesty instead of illusion. Peter had formally acknowledged Luna, establishing trust and ensuring her future. But more importantly, he'd shown up, consistently, patiently, proving through actions rather than words that he'd changed. Amanda had accepted a position in Albright Enterprises' community outreach program, work that used her skills and paid well without feeling like charity. She and Luna had moved to a better apartment, but not the mansion Peter had initially suggested. Balance, they'd learned, was everything. Vanessa emerged from the house, Luna immediately running to her grandmother. "Grandma, look. I caught a butterfly and let it go." "How kind of you, darling," Vanessa replied, embracing her granddaughter. She'd transformed over these months, the calculated elegance replaced by genuine warmth whenever Luna was near. As the afternoon sun painted the garden golden, the 4 of them, Peter, Amanda, Luna, and Vanessa, sat together for dinner on the patio. It wasn't a traditional family, but it was theirs. Built from mistakes and redemption, from lost time and found love. "Daddy," Luna said, carefully cutting her chicken with the determination of someone proving their growing independence, "my friend Sarah asked why my daddy doesn't live with us." The table fell silent. It was the question they'd all known would come eventually. "Well," Peter began carefully, glancing at Amanda, "sometimes families look different than in storybooks. Sometimes mommies and daddies live in different houses but both love their children very much. Like Taylor's parents." Luna referenced another child at her school. "Similar," Amanda confirmed. "What matters is that you're loved, sweetheart. So very loved." Luna considered this, then nodded, satisfied. "I am lucky," she announced. "I have a mommy and a daddy and a grandma and 2 houses and Bluey the whale." The adults couldn't help but laugh at her priorities. Later, as the evening cooled, Peter walked Amanda and Luna to the car. Carl had been replaced by Amanda's own vehicle now, another sign of the independence she'd maintained even as circumstances changed. "Thank you," Peter said softly to Amanda while Luna buckled herself in, still chattering about butterflies. "For giving me this chance. For forgiving me when I didn't deserve it." "You're proving yourself," Amanda replied. "Every day, you're proving yourself. That's what matters." Their eyes met, and something passed between them, not the passionate spark of their youth, but something deeper. Respect, friendship, and perhaps, with time, something more. "Uncle Peter." Luna called from the car. "I mean, Daddy. Come say good night." Peter crouched by the open door. "Good night, little whale. I'll see you Thursday for our library date." "Pinky promise." "Pinky promise." As Amanda drove away, Peter watched the taillights disappear into the Los Angeles evening. Behind him, his mother approached. "You've done well, son," Vanessa said quietly. "Better than I expected." "I'm trying, Mom. Every day, I'm trying." That's all any of us can do. In the car, Luna hummed a song from school, completely content in her world where she was loved and knew it. Amanda glanced at her daughter in the rearview mirror, then at the silver whale pendant catching streetlight. 5 years ago, she'd been abandoned and alone, facing single motherhood with nothing but determination and love. Now she had a job she enjoyed, a family however unconventional, and a future that looked brighter than she'd ever imagined. The past couldn't be changed. Those lost years would always be lost. But the future they were writing together, one day, one choice, one moment at a time, and that was enough. This story teaches us several profound truths. The power of taking responsibility. Peter's journey from a man who ran from his problems to one who faced them shows that it's never too late to do the right thing. True character isn't revealed in our mistakes, but in how we work to correct them. The strength of forgiveness. Amanda demonstrated that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing hurt, it means choosing to move forward without letting past pain poison the future. Her forgiveness wasn't instant or easy, it was earned through consistent actions. If this story touched your heart, moved you, or made you think differently about forgiveness, responsibility, or the many forms love can take, please subscribe to this channel. Your subscription tells me these stories matter to you, and it encourages me to bring you more tales that inspire, challenge, and remind us all of our shared humanity. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and come back next time for another journey into stories that illuminate the human spirit. Share this video with someone who needs to hear about second chances, about the power of truth, or about love's ability to heal even the deepest wounds. Remember, every family has a story, every heart has the capacity for growth, and every ending can become a new beginning if we're brave enough to write it. Subscribe now, and let's continue this journey together. Until next time, this is Uncle Joe, reminding you that the best stories are the ones that change us.